You are the much needed salt to a world that has lost its appetite for a loving meal at the Father's table. You are light to a world that thinks darkness is normal and struggles with enmity and strife. You are the one called to represent the freedom and abundance of life. Hey, friend, welcome back to the Stuck No More Voices podcast. I'm Theresa Croft, and I'm really glad you're here. Truly. I've been so fired up about this subject as I go into a series. This is part one of the series, Speak, Share, Declare. Why Now? This episode titled, The Tipping Point Moment for Your Story, Your Voice. Now, I think this is really an important topic, so much so, this is my third time and third software to get this out. Don't know what was going on yesterday, but I'm thinking today, and I thought, well, we'll just tackle it tomorrow. And as I was preparing to talk to you about this episode that's burning in my heart like a fire shut up in my bones, I realized this just isn't a conversation. This is part of my calling and very well might be part of your calling. Because I'm going to be talking about something about why now. Why now do you need to really move if you know you're called to podcast? And it's a call to rise up. Use your voice and release what God has placed in you. Well, let's anchor this, all this fire that I have for you. Let's anchor it in the Word of God. Many of you are familiar with this verse. Esther 4, verse 14. If you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise from another place. Let that settle in your spirit for a second. Because God will raise up a voice, but what if that voice is really meant to be yours, part of your purpose, a part of what's lined in your very DNA? You know, I felt the call to podcast since 2014. Back then, I thought it might just be a trend or even just a fad. Oh, was I ever wrong? Podcast has only grown in power and influence. Christian podcasting, by the way, has already grown by 40%. You know why I really believe so? People are hungry for the truth, not filtered by legacy media, just filtered by that person that they trust. I understand the world is loud, confused, even divided. But you can feel it, can't you? This deep urgency in your spirit, something is shifting. And that's what I want to talk about in this episode. Now, we can think about Charlie Kirk, recently targeted simply for speaking truth. And this isn't a podcast about how he died and who killed him. This is just an example, a baseline that I'm seeing. And I understand that lines are being drawn. More people, I believe, are waking up and speaking honestly about the relationship with God. God is being mentioned more than ever on major podcasts and news outlets. You think about that? Have you heard it? And those of us walking with God, we cannot afford to stay silent. Let me give you an example. Glenn Beck was on Megyn Kelly's Live. I don't know if you know this, but Glenn is a very wise believer in Jesus, very wise and well-spoken about it. And he didn't mince words on that live appearance. But he saw something. I'm using Glenn as an example because he knew the truth wasn't ultimately going to be safe in legacy media, and he chose obedience over comfort. So Glenn was very popular a number of years ago. I know my mom loved him on Fox, and he knew he was only going to be on Fox News for 2 years. And people were so surprised. You're leaving Fox News? Even the exec said, whoa, why? Wait, you can be comfortable here. You've got a future here on Fox News. And then the exec looked at him and he says, you're not going online, are you? That's just a fad. Well, Glenn said, yes, I am going online. He started the Blaze Network way back then, and now many have followed. Tucker Carlson got fired from Fox. He's got more viewers on his podcast because it's his platform. He can talk about what he wants. That's a key note to keep in mind. And even Megyn Kelly, regardless of what you think of her, she's allowing more and more people to talk about their relationship with God. She's having more and more interviews, so much so she's questioning her own beliefs and asking her viewers to send books about God. And she's reading them. Come on. And there are more and more people of influence seeing the same thing. The power is in the message that is delivered on the most and powerful platform today, podcasting. So you can see why I'm getting a little excited. I'm trying to tone it down. So listen, let's talk. If God has placed a message in your heart, can I lovingly remind you you're not being faithful by sitting on it? Come on, you know you got that burning desire, but I don't know. Podcasting, though, can I share this, is more than a trend. It is a powerful tool, especially in the right voices. Podcasting is personal, it's intimate, it's flexible, and it builds trust. Like a podcaster has got 15 to 30 minutes, and you get to know them if they're for real. It's like we're having coffee together, and I'm trying to not to spill my coffee because I'm so excited about this series. And listen, you can reach people globally in their cars, folding laundry, in their kitchens, in the quiet moments of their lives. There's no gatekeepers. It's your platform. No filters. You can come as you are, imperfect or not. You don't need to be viral. You don't need a studio or a big budget. You just need obedience. You need your voice coming from the voice of your Father. I heard Erika Kirk just say 2 lines recently, huge crowd of Mississippi students. And she said, find your voice. And there's this long pause. And then she said, earn your voice. We earn it by using it consistently, boldly, and humbly. So your voice could be the answer to someone's midnight cry. Your story might be the key that unlocks healing for another woman. Your podcast could be the place where truth meets grace and chains break. Like, I have been very candid about a very difficult marriage, and then most recently, a battle with cancer, a double mastectomy, a second surgery, and just saying, I'm cancer free. Let me share. Let me speak from my scars and not my wounds. Same with the past trauma. So don't look at who's already doing it, because this isn't a race, okay? It's a relay. You've been handed the baton for this moment. Like, I'm handing you, here's your mic. And maybe you've been through the fire. Maybe you feel like your voice has been buried under the weight of past wounds. But what if God wants you to create from the scars? What if God puts his extra on what you think is ordinary and brings out the extraordinary story, voice, solution that really could impact other people, maybe in the same situation? You're not seeking for it for fame, not for the spotlight, but just to be a force for Jesus in the dark. You know, I think we live in an upside down world because what is right is often thought is wrong, and what is wrong is thought is right. But there's a turning. Come on, there's a turning happening. You know, I survived a lot of 26 years of a cacophony of a marriage. And one way that God continued to help me fight for my voice, even in the midst of all that, I knew the voice was important. I knew it came from your identity, from the overflow of your relationship with God. And I still had times with God. And the way God ministered to me is he would speak to me in the voice of the vine dresser off John 15. I share this often. It's part of my story. And there would just be some mornings where I knew that I knew he wanted to say something. And so I would get ready and it would be, listen to the vine dresser. And I would just type as I could hear him in my spirit talking. Now, being a good journalist, I did go and, oh man, I said that word 5 times. Let's find another word for that. But 7 or 8 years ago, God downloaded a vine dresser word that was called, you are my revivalist. And I think that's the call through podcasting. You are his revivalist. You're anointed. Why podcasting? You keep saying, well, you can go on social. That's cool. You can write a book, that's excellent. But what if you could write a book and the podcast could be part of helping you write that book? It's possible. Last year or last season in the Stuck No More Voices Academy, we did have someone who was an author writing her book, but she knew she needed the element of podcasting. And she also knew she could learn from that element. So I leave you with this word that I've always remembered. It was from the You Are My Revivalist. And the last paragraph still burns in my soul of where we are right now. And it goes like this. You are the much needed salt to a world that has lost its appetite for a loving meal at the Father's table. You are light to a world that thinks darkness is normal and struggles with enmity and strife. You are the one called to represent the freedom and abundance of life. Yes, and it can only come from one place, and that's Jesus. So what about you? What if you just coming on, and don't get all caught up in viewers and how many. It's not really about that. It's more about your obedience, and it's more that you're coming from the overflow. That will impact more people. And there's a freedom in this. There's a freedom word that's being spread, regardless of the attacks. The freedom is it's time to bring a light into the dark places. Oftentimes you start in your home, your community, maybe even your church, your state, nationwide, worldwide. I believe with all my heart that God is raising up voices, mothers, Christian businesswomen, coaches, teachers, women with oil in their lamps to speak into this generation, not for applause, not for the platform, not for fame, but for impact. Their story, their voice, the glory going all to God. So let me ask you, friend, if not now, then when? If not you, who? You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start. It's like this. When you move in faith, God will meet you with clarity, provision, and favor. When you move by his grace, he more than enables you to walk by his grace. So let me give you some steps this week for this first episode in this series. Somewhere to start if you know a podcast is burning in your heart to be released. Number one, pray. Spend time in his presence. Number two, write your message down. If you know how to use ChatGPT correctly, have ChatGPT help you. Only if you know how to use it. Train like it knows your voice and sounds like you. And number three, speak it out loud. Maybe try that episode that you have in your heart and to a friend, a trusted friend, or maybe record in your own voice in your phone and listen back. Not to critique, but to say, wow, I think I do have a story. And ask God, is it time to start my podcast? Spoiler, you already know the answer. So the Stuck No More Voices Podcast Academy is launching as of this date I'm recording this January. But you don't have to wait. You can get a head start right now with my free webinar that's designed to help you find the clarity and the confidence and the momentum and even details about how the Academy could help you. Check the show notes for the link. And let me help you craft your message from the overflow, speaking from your identity with these two simple and powerful AI tools that'll equip you to launch with purpose. And it won't take you all day to do a podcast. Now, this one's a little different. I don't know what happened to me, except this. I think this was so important. I had every technical resistance. And to me, that's not technical. There's a war going on in the airwaves. And that's what the war I think I experienced yesterday. Anyway, I really appreciate you spending time with me. If this stirred something in you, would you share with a sister or a friend who needs that holy nudge too? And be sure to come back next week for part 2 of this series. Part 2 is going to be Your Voice is a Weapon, Speak with Wisdom, Boldness, and Love. That'll be coming next week. So until then, stay faithful, stay bold, and speak the truth in love. I'll talk to you in the next series on the Stuck No More Voices podcast.